Hey there, true believers. We've got a special show for you tonight. We've got a public service announcement brought to you by The Flash about AIDS. We also talk a little bit about the death of Superman, and we'll be reading Superman, Superman the Man of Steel, not Man of Steel, but The Man of Steel.
Yes.
Issue 5, 1993. We also have a very special guest for you tonight. Once again, returning Scott McMullen. How's it going, Scotty?
The answer is simple. We kill Superman.
Yes. Pretty good, I guess.
Nice.
So,
Hey, it's a good thing I shaved my head like Lex Luthor so we can talk about
I was going to say that, but I didn't know if you were
It's
sensitive
okay,
or not.
okay.
Okay.
Well, what's sensitive about it, I willingly shaved my head. It doesn't matter.
What's
so.
scary about this comic book, and I just kind of picked it up because I got a free issue.
An
with-
ish.
you go to the Prairie Dog. I bought Superman Unchained. Like you can choose from a big box of comic books, Superman comic books, for
so
free.
if you buy one of the new Superman books, you can pick one of the old books that are no longer in continuity.
Right, for free.
Yeah.
So, like, I flipped through it and it's like, oh, Funeral for a Friend 3, Superman. And, it's got everyone on the cover on it. And it's got, everyone's got long flowing hair.
Yeah, they were
and
totally into man mullets back then.
very sexy.
Really crazy.
Even the
Like-
women have kind of the 90s.
Look at this Aquaman mullet that he's totally rocking. And then, like,
Does he
he's
have the
got this
beard?
crazy
No, he doesn't
No,
have
he
the
doesn't have the
beard
beard
yet.
yet.
Huh.
Because Death of Superman was what pushed them into dark storylines. Because the fallout of Death of Superman leads into, I think it's is it Emerald Twilight, where Hal Jordan goes
Yeah.
crazy and becomes Parallax. Like that
also,
follows into that,
yeah.
and yeah. So,
And also-
but I remember in the '90s that everybody had long flowing hair, which was not true at all. I
now
don't know why they.
I
think
know
everybody comics
Superman had a mullet at one point. Was this before or after the death? That was after.
He had
So
the
he
after
came-
death. He came back with the mullet.
Okay,
He came back with the mullet because the premise.
so he
was,
came back with style,
Well,
basically.
yeah. Because basically the premise was he wasn't really like dead. He was kind of in a coma.
Yeah,
I guess.
so I
Well,
don't
it
know.
depends on which issue you read, or which retcon you read about it. But since he was like just asleep, his hair got longer, and he just
Yeah.
never bothered to cut it. And it's
longer,
like, oh look,
more beautiful.
Look, Clark's back, and he's got longer hair, and so does Superman, and it looks like they got the same stylist now. So whatever.
Something else that's interesting on this cover, Supergirl is on.
That
Was
is
she? I know she died during Crisis. Was she brought back at this point? I
okay.
don't remember.
So no, and all of this doesn't count anymore because of New 52.
Oh, yeah.
But that is actually what was her name? Was it Linda Danvers, Supergirl? I can't recall. I know her first name was Linda, but. After Crisis, they decided that Superman is the only Kryptonian, period.
Yeah,
Not going
right.
to bring back any more Kryptonians. Well, they made a scapegoat by creating this. She's human, but she somehow gets like an alien, like crash lands and is dying. And it's basically a symbiote suit kind of thing and kind of saves her life. And they become Supergirl. And then it turns into this whole like, I'm not kidding when I even bring this up. Like, she's not just an alien, but she's maybe kind of some kind of angel kind of thing.
Jeez.
And it got really,
Cool it.
really ridiculous. Now, her costume on the cover of this issue and in this issue looks very much like the traditional pre-crisis
Yes,
Supergirl, but throughout after this, they changed her costume to what we remember from the '90s cartoon, the white T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Supergirl.
okay.
That was where
I
that
prefer
costume
that.
design came from.
Yes.
And then eventually, I think it was when they finally came out with the Batman Superman comic in in 2002 or whatever. That's when they finally bring back
Boring.
Kara Zor-El Supergirl,
Course.
Well,
I can't even say
cousin
it.
Supergirl. That's who it
Sean
is.
and I talked about this 2 shows ago about when they got rid of retconned all the Kryptonians out and made Superman the last son of Krypton. So Zod and Supergirl and all these other people were
They're gone.
totally written out.
They're out of there.
Which is odd to me that they would do that. But what is also odd is not only Supergirl, but what it all comes down to, this is another issue of let's make toys. We've got these things copyrighted. So you've got Supergirl. Then you also, after the death of Superman, you also have, Superboy. Why not? Because, in the old comic,
yeah.
Superboy was just young Superman.
Yeah.
Right.
And now they wrote him as a real character. He was like a clone or something of...
Well,
He's like a mix between well, I don't know if it's come out in the comic book, but he's mixed between Superman and somebody else.
Yes, in
The New 52.
So when he died, well, I think it has come out in the new 52.
Has it? Okay.
Yeah. So what happens is he dies. Superman dies in quotation marks, and then there's the reign of the Superman storyline, which is these 4 guys show up out of nowhere claiming to each be Superman. One of them is what we all know as the modern Superboy, and he is a clone of Superman, and he had he was like half the strength of Superman, had a variation of Superman's powers, but he also had this weird like tactile telekinesis power.
Creepy.
Just something that they create. It was basically their excuse to make him like how he could lift up stuff that when he wasn't as strong as Superman.
Oh yeah, okay.
And then later on, it's revealed much later on in the storyline that he's half human, half Kryptonian. But it's revealed much later on that it turns out the half human donor was actually Lex Luthor.
Oh my
And
God.
it was a part of a brain, like a part of a perfect sleeper weapon kind of. Because Lex.
So Lex Luthor and Superman had a son together.
Yeah, it is.
That's what you're telling us.
It is
weird.
totally that's totally where it goes. But I think in the New 52 they just showed I think the latest issue of Superboy in the New 52. It's him fighting another version of Super. It looks like he's fighting another version of Superboy, and it looks like he's wearing the more modern Superboy costume and not the New 52 costume, which is like just red and black. And it looks like you're trying to figure out what's going on, and it turns out that Superboy is actually a Superboy from a future where Lois and Clark have a son.
Oh.
And this Superboy that currently exists is a cross between Superman and I don't know if they've said it's Lex or if they've said it's somebody
Has to be
else.
Lex.
It's probably going to be Lex again because they've
Yeah.
been dropping hints that it's Lex.
Yeah.
Because Lex dropped a bunch of hints in New 52, and I would hate it for them to do that to make
Yeah.
him somebody else because it's like I really like that dynamic.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there was an issue of Action. It was Adventure Comics before they did the New 52, where Superboy was going through like a checklist of how Lex Luthor am I and how Superman am I. And in the end, it's like, no, I make good choices. I always do the right thing. That's what.
Can't tell me
Superman
what you
would
do, Dad.
But it was a really good issue because it actually showed like how freaking evil Lex Luthor is.
Oh, yeah.
He cures his sister of cancer and then he gives her cancer all over again. Like he literally cures her and then she can walk and she's like not paralyzed or anything and he's like,
It's messed
and
up.
Lex can take away and then like just like, geez, what a brick.
Speaking of Lex here, in this issue, he's got red flowing hair.
Yes.
And I didn't.
It's not just red and flowing. I mean, that's
He's got a
freaking
beard.
lines,
Oh, yeah,
man.
He's got some locks.
He looks like
I think he's overcompensating a little bit there.
he looks like I don't know, like Hercules in a Prince Valiant comic, you know? I mean, it's insane.
What's
how long
really
that hair
wrong
and that
about this,
beard
though, is his eyebrows are black, and it just
Yes. Yes.
it's not working.
Well, you're
Because
looking
he's
at
clearly evil.
what you're looking at is that, and then he's planning Superman's funeral, and there's a dude combing his hair and styling it.
There is a dude coming in.
Yeah, and he's obviously,
So why does he have
Yes.
hair?
Okay, so
was
that-
his evil plan like
there-
Rogaine or something?
There was a storyline where Luthor died before Death
No.
of Superman.
Oh my
Luthor
God.
dies because the kryptonite ring that he always carried on him, just to mess with Superman and keep him away from him, gave him cancer.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And like they've done that.
Duh.
They wrote it in the
Oopsie.
DC animated
Yeah.
series in the Justice League series. Like 10, 15 years ago, and so basically what happens is he dies, but he knows he's dying. So what he does is he clones a body, and it's a younger body, and it's that big red-headed dude body, and he puts his brain in that body, and
God.
he dies, and he comes back in this Vival Sassoon long flowing hair body, saying he's the son of Lex Luthor, trying to make amends for his father's evil ways, and he's like got a thing for he's got a thing going on with Supergirl just to piss off Superman.
Sweet.
But
Love
I
it.
think I haven't read this issue. I don't know if this is the point where he's still being the good Lex Luthor.
Yeah, he's still a good guy.
He's still a good guy.
I think there's
And then
hints at
finally
where
it's-
he's kind of a, he's
and then
secretly
finally
a
it's
dick.
revealed he's like, the biggest dick on the planet. I'm shaving off all this hair. It's stupid. And so yeah. So that's why Lex has red hair. But if you look at the cover, there's like a whole bunch of characters that like they were pushing back then that they don't even use nowadays. You know, like they have this gold guy right here. James, you thought he was Booster Gold, but it's actually like he's the Guardian or the Sentinel or something. Like, I don't know. Superman had a lot of very no-name supporting characters in the comic. Even like when you read Death of Superman, I remember reading it and then I saw these superheroes like crying as he's dying, and I'm like, who the hell is that guy?
Yeah.
Where's like it was Ice and God, I can't remember the other guy, but Ice was crying over Superman dying. I'm like, where the hell's Wonder Woman, Batman?
Yeah.
I don't care about where's Batman. Like that's all I cared about. Where the hell's Batman?
I don't care about this Ice guy.
Because Batman's his best friend, duh. so it was just kind of.
Well, it's funny in here. There's Lobos in here, and he gets pissed off because Superman's dead. And
He's mad because he can never
they
fight
didn't-
Superman
yeah,
again.
yeah. So it's a pretty good issue.
And it shows like the aftermath, how people like go through the stages of grief.
Oh yeah,
Including the Clintons.
yeah. Bill and Hillary
Bill
Clinton
and Hillary
make a-
because they were in the White House at the time.
Oh yeah, and when I was reading.
We'll get to it.
Okay.
We'll get to that.
Okay. Whoa,
Whoa,
cool
keep
it, Tiger.
No,
Keep it in your
foreshadowing.
pants.
We already foreshadowed with the intro, though.
And
Okay.
I'm fairly certain.
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to point out here's Bill Clinton's speech. Superman himself should probably remind us to care for the many victims of Doomsday's attack. And so we do. I don't want to read the whole thing.
Never
Let me
mind.
skip ahead.
Never mind.
That would be more
Something
poignant.
is our own ability to care about and help each other. And then Hillary says,
Word.
as to the families of Doomsday's other victims, we also send our thoughts and prayers to Superman's loved ones, whoever they may be. I also love how there's old-fashioned like young Hillary. Remember how she was
Yeah.
always standing by her man and all
Yeah.
that back then, and the weird pink jumpsuit.
The art in this, that's
The
Bill
pink
Clinton.
pantsuit.
Pantsuit, yeah.
That's you know that's Bill Clinton, but
Right.
looking at who's next to him, that could be somebody else.
I don't know.
What,
Go back and look at
Hillary?
Hillary from.
Well, she's
92.
too blonde. Her
You know
face.
what's actually really, really, really funny, and maybe this is just my mind playing tricks on me, but when I look at that first panel and I see Bill and Hillary standing next to each other and I can't see their faces
It looks like
very well, it looks like
Jennifer
Monica.
Flowers.
It looks like Monica
Well, I guess
Lewinsky
we'll
to
just
me.
pick one.
Yeah, I know. It's like the many loves of Bill Clinton. Let's get out of the politics here. Anyway, I think I remember having the last issue of this series, The Funeral for a Friend, and I'm pretty sure maybe it was a different issue I'm thinking of, but the last page of it had like this splash of the 4 characters who comes claiming to be the new
Superman, yeah.
You know, and there were 2 of them that definitely were not Superman.
Yeah.
The
Steel.
Steel, the black guy, who openly admitted,
Hey, if you
Superman.
can put Lex
Yeah.
Luthor's brain
Right,
in a
right, right.
redheaded guy,
We
why
can make
can't you put
Superman
Superman's
black.
brain?
Yeah. But no, clearly, I mean, he's the only
Why
one that
can't
actually came out and
Superman
said
be
he wasn't
black?
Superman.
What's your problem?
Maybe
I
he'd
don't
be.
have a problem.
He could probably jump higher and run faster. I'm sorry.
Wow.
He can already leap tall buildings in a single bound. How
He
much
could do it
longer-
better.
He could do it better. Yeah. That was Enrique. That's it.
Yeah.
James is poking at me to say it.
Quit being.
I'm pretty sure we
Take your
don't.
hood off, buddy.
So anyway,
Anyway.
I noticed this ad right here.
You're just dying to talk about this.
You just really
This
want to
ad,
talk about this
Final
video game,
Fantasy
man.
Mystic Quest.
Yeah.
We've got a picture of a brain with a dipstick coming out of it, and it says head lube and oil change $39.99. That price is way more than you should ever pay for Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Let me explain. Final Fantasy Mystic Quest was my foray into the Final Fantasy series, which I ended up loving. But this game was like this spin-off that was made for stupid Americans because
Dumbed down.
at this point we only had 1 and 4, I believe. 2 and 3 didn't make it, and
Right.
5 didn't make it because Americans were too stupid to play them. Apparently,
That was just what they're. Yeah.
Most of the reason, that's what everyone says. The real reason is because this series wasn't popular enough to get over here. The first game had a 3-year delay.
Yeah, it was.
And they're not going to release 2 and 3 on an old system.
It was a hardcore RPG, and people didn't like it.
Yeah.
And but now people love fucking hardcore.
But this game is, everyone says it's awful. I remembered really liking it when I was a kid. I'm sure if I played it now, I would hate it. But I just wanted to point that out. Which, by the way, that series is dead.
Oh, Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No one cares. Anyway, what's funny is looking at all these ads for old Super Nintendo games. There's a ton of Super Nintendo games.
At the back,
And then
there's
at the
that old Terminator 2 arcade game.
But then over here, for just an arcade game, not even like a console port.
Oh, now on the Genesis. It is a console port. You dork.
I'm a dick. Well, I saw the box.
Yeah.
I saw the arcade box.
Which was an awesome game to play at the arcade.
That and the Aerosmith arcade.
Yeah.
But this is so weird. I never understood this ad. I never ever got it. It was an ad for a Super Nintendo game called Phalanx, and on the box, the box art for the game,
what it is.
There's a spaceship, a tiny spaceship flying across the length of the box. But the majority of the box is the word Phalanx and some old dude with a banjo. And I just never
He's not
got
in the
that.
game. He's not in the game. It's just a space shooter.
I know, but I just always assume that maybe that's a teenager thing and I just don't get it. What happened to Mario?
Teenagers love old men playing
I
banjos.
was 10. What the hell did I know?
Well, don't you think old men who play banjos are the only people who've ever seen alien spacecraft? Kind of makes sense.
You know what?
Shooting
you're
at each
actually
other.
Probably 100% true.
Shooting at one another.
So, speaking of ads,
Yeah, that Game Genie ad. That's badass.
Genie.
Hell
Oh yeah, Super Genie.
I do love the. By the way, let me. What does it say? 16-bit Super.
Oh wow.
16-bit Super.
I don't know
Ultra
if that was-
64. Virtual Boy was.
Did you guys have a
crap.
Game Genie?
I had a Game Genie for my Nintendo, and that was the only way I could beat like certain games.
Yeah.
There
Yeah,
was
that's
no
the only
on
way you
earth-
could beat.
There were some games like.
Battletoads or Contra.
Oh yeah, there was. No,
I never even
no one could
bothered with
finish
Battletoads. That game.
That
That game sucks.
That game was BS. man.
Well, that game is hard because it was poorly made.
I had Battletoads Double Dragon.
Oh,
That was a crazy game.
Wow.
Don't they fight in space in that one or something? I think I
they're all
played
over
it.
the place in that
Yeah.
game, but it's cool because you
weird.
can play as the Double Dragon characters. Or
I
the
love
Battletoads
Double Dragon.
characters. I thought that was so amazing. Like it's a crossover. It's amazing.
Finally,
Oh my God.
they're listening to us.
I know, my dreams are coming true. Like that, and like I remember when Smash Brothers came out. I'm like, about time. Why do you not? And then I've always wondered why they never made like. I know I'm taking this way off topic, but who cares? I've always wondered why they never made like a Smash Brothers game or a Smash Brothers style game where you have all the different characters from the Nintendo universe, but in Mario Party.
That makes
Oh, yeah.
sense.
I mean,
I
like
don't
it
know.
just like Nintendo Party.
Yeah.
Seriously, how is that not happening?
I'll move Link 6.
Yes, Link goes up 6, and then freaking Falcon punched, and
Do you know there was a Castlevania game that was a Mario Party ripoff? It was apparently really terrible, but it had like Simon Belmont and Trevor Belmont.
Castlevania?
Yeah, it had like all the Belmonts fighting. It was for the Wii, but you couldn't even. I looked at the ads for it. You couldn't even tell who the characters were supposed to be because they were designed so radically different that.
Just in case.
Well, I just know Simon Belmont as a brown dude with a whip. That's all I know because that's what he looked like.
He
in
had
the
a
old
blue
NES
suit in
game.
the Super NES.
Or a dude with a giant coiffed haircut in the Captain N animated series. Yeah, that's right. I did that. Okay, let's talk. Let's go back to comics.
So Enrique, when you bought this,
I was looking. Well, I was flipping through it, and
tell us about this ad.
usually I don't read the ads. I kind of like, it's for don't drink soda and stuff like that. And I was bored since I don't have
Pepsi
cable.
coolers.
So, and I'll read it to you just a little bit. It's about these kids are playing basketball. One kid says, "I'm thirsty. You can have something to drink." This other kid says, "Hey Jack, want some of my soda?" And there's a white kid, and the black kid asks the white kid.
What?
I'm bringing race into it for a reason.
We need to.
I'm bringing,
okay.
I'm bringing race into it for a reason.
We need to enact this.
Okay.
Enrique,
Okay.
You're the first kid.
I'll
and
be the
then-
black kid.
Okay, you're
okay. I'll
gonna
be the black kid.
and I'm
Okay.
gonna be the white kid.
Okay.
Okay, all right, whatever. Or the Asian kid. He looks Asian to me.
He
All
could
right,
be
okay.
Asian. It looks like
Man.
Jim Lee.
All right, man, it's hot out here. I wish I had something to drink.
Here, Jack, want some of my soda?
Gross. I'm not drinking after you, man.
And then James, you come in as the
you're gonna be
I'm
Flash.
the Flash. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, we should have.
Wait.
Is
think
that?
I think I still got the.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's like, no, and he's got the soda, and he drops the soda.
No, he throws out the
He
straw.
throws out the straw. He throws out the straw, and the next panel you see a gloved red crimson hand catching the straw as it falls to the ground. Don't you know? That's how you get AIDS.
And then pops in the Flash from.
And then the Flash says, "Oh, is that so? Here are some fast facts." Oh, get it?
Yeah, fast facts.
That's pretty good.
As opposed to flash fact, which he always says flash fact.
Oh,
Way to drop
God.
the ball, DC.
You can't catch AIDS from drinking after somebody, or from any kind of casual physical contact.
That's a flash fact.
That's. It was. Oh, sorry. It's,
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
Where you at?
Okay, the both of us together.
Flash.
Because they said it in unison.
Sorry.
It was just a joke, man. Which this is like the fourth time this kid has said "man."
that was the '90s.
That's how kids talked.
dude,
That's how
bro.
we talked back then, bro.
Well, jokes like that are never funny. They make people afraid of AIDS and prejudiced against those who have it. AIDS is a scary thing, but the only way to overcome our fear is to learn the truth about it. Be careful, but be informed. And save me a sip of that soda. Jack was right about one thing. It is hot out here. And then he slam dunks a basketball.
like a boss.
All right, I just want to say one thing. First of all, Flash, we should be afraid of AIDS. All right,
It's not a big
It's
deal.
a bad thing. Just as we should be afraid of any other venereal disease out there, but knowledge is power.
That's what it.
We
That's what it should
protect
said under here.
ourselves like-
AIDS.
Yeah. It's still bad. I mean,
Yeah.
it's still bad for you kids. Just remember that. But you're not going to get cooties, okay?
I like how they say how you don't get it. How do you get it though?
Because they can't come out and say it.
Right. You can't put in, I guess, a
But-
comic book.
Well, you can't
don't
get it
have
from
sex
casual
without
physical
AIDS.
contact.
Yeah.
Right. But Enrique,
I got
Not my
schooled.
kind of casual physical contact.
sloppy high fives.
Ugh, bloody,
all I know, man.
Bloody high fives.
That's how I was raised.
Blood Brothers, man.
What's funny is that we did a little bit of research, and
Right.
there's a few. There's like one with Green Lantern. There's one with Nightwing, and they all have to do with AIDS. And the
By
thing's
the way,
called.
I just want to point out there is a reason. I think there's a reason why you pointed out the kids' races. And
Yeah.
I think there is. Maybe not, but
Yeah,
if
back
you're
to
gonna
that.
make a PSA that's trying to bring awareness about AIDS, do you think it's weird that the white kid, is giving the
He's
black
Asian.
kid
He's
crap,
clearly Asian.
whatever he is?
He's clearly.
Giving him crap about it. That's almost as bad as giving. That's almost as bad as making gay people seem like they have AIDS. Which leads us
Which
to our
leads to the next PSA.
Here we have.
If you'd like to look at said PSAs, you can find them at comic book resources.
That's right. They're
where we
pretty.
found them. It's a good comic.
It's a good read. It's a good read.
But actually, no, it's a terrible read.
Yeah, actually.
It's a fun read.
Let's go on.
I like how in the Flash the black kids disappeared by the end of the last panel.
Oh, yeah,
now we
he's
have a
gone.
new white kid
Yeah.
in there. It's like, where'd the black kid go?
He probably really did have
Probably
AIDS.
didn't. He probably didn't like getting
I better
shown
get
up.
outta here.
Didn't like getting shown up by Flash's mad dunking skill.
You guys,
Pass me
really.
the rock, Flash.
So anyway, God. So anyway, the next one we
Gays
have
and AIDS.
Gays and AIDS. That's
Oh,
right. And
Green Lantern. Being all fabulous on the scene.
so anyway, there's like an angry mob, after these two gay guys. And by the way, these guys, if you don't know they're gay by reading it, you can know by looking at the picture because they are like out and out total stereotypes.
Yeah.
And they drew them
Just-
to look more like they were straight out of the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's just do let's not read this one. Let's just do the
Yeah,
rest of it.
please. So basically, this angry mob is coming after him.
Like they've
Green
got
Lantern.
like pitchforks and crap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pitchforks and bats.
It's pretty brutal.
Green Lantern shows up and he's like, "Not all gay people have AIDS. You can't say they're carrying the virus any more than any of you." And that kind of makes everyone mad. And he preaches to them some more, and then he just leaves.
Yeah, that's what I like. It's like he really just he made things worse by like really just like kicking the bee's nest and then running like hell.
Have a good day, citizens.
Good day.
He didn't even
We
bother
can do
taking
this
away.
Like he flies away, and he's like, "We can fight this together." And it's
He,
like,
he didn't even bother taking away any of these people's bats or their weapons.
I know.
They're
He
just-
didn't disarm. He has the most powerful weapon in the universe, and he doesn't disarm any of these people.
Superman will clean this
And these
up.
people are clearly bad people. I mean,
Was the epidemic that bad where people were chased with
no, I think the
pitchforks?
fear of the epidemic was that bad.
No,
though.
it wasn't even that. They just didn't know how to relate this. They didn't know how to relate this to kids properly and just be like, "Hey, wear a condom."
Yeah. Don't share needles.
I don't know.
Don't give each other needle high fives, okay, kids? It's bad.
So that leads us to the next one. You're going to have to help us with this because
The Booster Gold one.
Booster
Yeah.
Gold and
Booster Gold.
Love me some blue and gold.
the Blue Beetle.
Okay, so it's basically Booster and 90s Booster because he's in this crazy, like, freaking robot suit that looks like he's a football player, which he was a football player from the future once upon a time.
Oh,
Ooh,
interesting.
which the future is probably now the past.
And Booster's with his buddy Blue Beetle, and I can tell it's Blue Beetle because Blue Beetle never really changed his costume. This must have been around the time where they were starting the, well, probably, I think it was after Superman died. They did Extreme Justice.
Ooh.
Back in the 90s, every comic had to have the Extreme in the title.
Extreme.
And if you Google Extreme Justice, like everybody's in some kind of weird like exo suit with spiky shoulder blades and crap. Even Blue Beetle, and you're like, what is going on here? This is terrible.
Extreme.
So anyway, it's Booster and Blue Beetle talking to each other, and they're basically like, it doesn't make any sense because I don't even know why Blue Beetle says this, but he starts off the conversation with, "I envy you, Booster. I tell you, I'm afraid to even date these days." And then Booster just chimes in with, "You mean AIDS? Don't worry, I only date nice women." And I'm sitting there going, how do you extrapolate AIDS from whatever the hell that was about? And why does he envy Booster? Is Booster a robot now all of a sudden for no reason? Does he not
No,
boink?
he only
I mean,
he only dates nice girls.
well, apparently he doesn't have a penis anymore, so now he can't get AIDS. And Blue Beetle is
And-
totally into that. So anyway, there's another character. It's a blonde girl. They don't really say who she is, but I can pretty easily figure out who she is just by how she kind of uses her powers. She gets mad at them making the comments. She's like, "That's not true," and blah blah blah. And how can you be so disrespectful about people with AIDS? Because where I come from, there's tons of people dying from AIDS. And she uses green fire, and I think it's the character Fire who's Brazilian. And in Brazil and South America and in Africa, there was an AIDS in South America, there was a big AIDS epidemic.
Yeah.
I think specifically in Brazil during that time.
So she kills both of them.
No, she doesn't kill both of them, but she like
She
freaks
should've.
them. She freaks them both out, and she totally makes Booster totally rethink his stupid costume and go back to his classic yellow big collar costume because that's totally rocking. Bring back Skeets.
I'd love. That one was a good one.
There you go. PSAs.
Thank you, DC Comics.
Thank you for telling me about AIDS.
I'm totally
and giving
not-
me
I'm-
bad advice.
Totally not afraid of AIDS anymore now.
Why? 'Cause
Thank you.
have it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
You
maybe.
shouldn't be afraid of it. Since you
Yeah,
have
Flash
it.
says I shouldn't be afraid. So thanks a lot, dude, who can just travel back in time to before he had AIDS and stop himself from getting it.
Ah,
about those
kids.
Get on your
Needles,
treadmill, run off the AIDS.
I told you not to share needles with hookers.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
And you wouldn't listen. You just would not listen. You were like, well, I have to get high.
But I only get needles from nice girls.
Hey, there's mail in this.
All right.
I still don't get why he envies him. What does he envy him for?
Because he's a handsome white guy.
He's from the future.
I think, well...
Maybe
yeah,
in the
it
future
doesn't
there's a
matter.
cure. I don't,
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, bring your future. Where's your cure, future man?
Yeah.
Why don't you share with the rest of us?
Dick.
God,
I ain't no
Booster.
damn scientist. All right, here we go.
Right.
Dear Luis and Mike. By the way, do you know who Luis and Mike are? Mike Carlin, editor. I don't know who Luis is.
We're going into uncharted territories for us.
Oh, I bet
Yeah, you're
she's
in
on
DC.
the-
Oh, Louise Simonson. Okay, there you go. Anyway,
These are the editors of the Man of Steel Superman comic, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Crisis at hand, and Man of Steel number 16 must be
Let's
the
not
most.
throw away that. Let's like throwing around that crisis word. All right, kids, come on. That's a big word.
Must
in
be
these
the most
words.
important story I've read in a comic for several years. The issue of domestic violence is far more likely to be in the realm of our experience than alien invasions, etc. Andrea's irrational guilt and fear of losing Gary are sad are sad realities in situations such as this. Appropriately, this story wasn't simplistic or easily resolvable. Your appeal to people to contact the Coalition Against Domestic Violence for help was fantastic, and I hope the story helps someone escape abuse. It won't. Having recently gotten married to a wonderful woman, I have so many ideals for my relationship, and I see communication as one of the most constructive tools available to us.
Amen.
That's why I write the comic books.
And beat my wife. This is a
Stop.
this is a factor that is constantly being reinforced in the example of Lois and Clark's relationship. I don't think a husband ever sets out to be an abuser. Well, you're wrong, to be an abuser of his wife, and I hope that young readers will remember the story and those examples later in life and avoid blah, blah, blah. Once again, Superman titles have proven to be more than just entertainment.
Sounds like
I
that
look
was-
forward to the resolution of this story. And that's from Paul Higgs, from Chatswood, Australia.
That sounds like
There we go.
that was that year's submission to the Eisenhower Awards or whatever.
They write, it's amazing how much activity and nobility, of spirit came to us through mail, Paul. A number of people like you wrote in, proffering additional advice and suggestions. If Andrea, or anybody, had a support network like this, she'd be back on her feet in no time. Expect a baldy in the mail for your letter of concern and action. I don't know what that means.
We'll have to look up Baldy, what that means. Are they going to get Scott in the mail?
Their reply to his letter should have started with, "Who cares about beating women? Superman is dead, people! Who will save us?
We're screwed.
Redheaded Lex Luthor?
We're
Fake
screwed.
Supergirl?"
I think the story they're talking about is, I think a lesser known hero hits his wife or beats his wife.
A hero? So it's
Yeah,
like,
I'd have
so
to
it's
look it
their
up.
Ant-Man.
I think it's just a random Superman supporting character from the 90s.
Yeah,
Because there were a lot of.
Yeah, but he like beats his wife, and then they
Yeah, I don't
have
think
like
it
an
was a
intervention.
superhero, though.
You don't think so?
No, there was a story. I remember there was a story arc, and I think it was actually inspired by Superman 3, where like,
Okay.
Pete Ross beat his wife.
Okay.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Because it was in Superman 3. Lana Lang, she married.
Oh,
Pete
that
Ross, and
was
Ross-
Pete Ross.
Yeah. And now Pete
Interesting.
Ross is a big chubby redhead dude that works at IHOP.
Yeah.
He was
Boy, they
black.
are
Yeah,
not.
well,
He
yeah.
was black for a while.
Yeah.
And he got.
Is he
better
okay?
recently. I'm kidding.
I'm just
We're gonna have to make a
I
lot
am
of edits in there.
screwing this show up.
We're just bleeping out
So,
Scott completely.
guys, I'm a minority, so it's whatever.
It's totally cool. It's totally cool. Well, technically, I'm a minority now, too. And you're not a minority
Yeah.
anymore now.
Anyway,
I could.
Yeah,
Hey
we're
guys,
way off
I'm
topic.
gonna skip this one and go to one from Topeka, Kansas.
oh, cool.
Hey!
So
Hey,
here
that's
we
near
go.
Smallville.
That is. Good one, James. Dear Super Team. Oh, here we go. I'm a 13-year-old who only recently got involved with comics. It was only natural for me to pick Superman since he was a childhood favorite of mine.
And I feel changes in my body.
I too have felt changes. No. When I picked up Superman number 56, part 1 of the Red Glass trilogy, I was intrigued. So I started buying the other titles as well. Barely a month later, Man of Steel came out. I soon found myself buying all of the Superman titles as well as several other DC comics. Anyway, back to MOS 16, I thought the storyline was pretty good. Most superheroes go and deal out justice with a fist or a gun, including Superman. This often gives people the misconceptions that, number 1, violence can get rid of any threat, true. 2, people with super abilities or great talents are the only ones who ever beat people. While this is partly true, it's also good sometimes to see how weak and vulnerable superheroes can be, such as such as in your Crisis at Hand storyline.
Except for Superman, who can never be weak.
That's right. Anyway, I wanted to comment on that. And to say thanks. More than half of my small comic book collection is made up of Superman comics. You put on a great story every month, and it blends in so well with the other Superman comics that most of the time I don't care which comic I buy. As long as it has Superman on the cover, that's it. Thanks for a great comic. God.
Okay, so he was 13 when he wrote that.
His name's David. Yeah.
David.
You could look him up. He might still be in Topeka.
He might still be in
Look him
Topeka.
up.
He's 33 years old now, and he's probably super pissed off they screwed over the continuity. Now all those storylines mean nothing to him.
Nothing. Take that, David.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and there's no response.
They're just like, thanks, kid.
Whatever, Topeka, Kansas.
Make mine Marvel, kid. Whatever.
By the way,
What do you?
the Red Glass storyline.
What was that one?
That was the one. That was the one where, in like another dimension, Superman kills all his arch enemies or something.
Sweet.
I know, a much better Superman.
Yeah.
And the world lives under the iron fist of Superman, which
he went
honestly
to parallel
sounds
world.
like a paradise.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have to worry about anything.
Actually, that sounds like a new hit game that came out called Injustice: Gods Among Us.
Yes.
'Cause
Yeah,
that's
I
the
did.
entire premise of the game right there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's.
Thanks for spoiling that for me.
It's like the very beginning of the game. Shut up. Anyway,
You'd figure it out,
what do you-
James.
I've been making all these new 52 jokes. What do you guys think about that so far?
I like it. I've been following the Batman since the beginning, and I really like the art. I like Scott Snyder, what he's doing with it. The art's really good. They're doing a thing now called Year Zero, which they're kind of showing.
Yeah, they're going to showcase villains.
They're going to show his origin. They're showing that right now they're on the Riddler kind of origin, and just from reading the very beginning, they're also working on the Joker origin.
And that's the catch is even though it's Year Zero, it's not origin for everybody because they could do that since they totally changed continuity.
Right.
And that's the thing. They didn't have a set guideline of what's continuity and what's not because they keep making references to stuff that happened pre-New 52, especially in Batman and Green Lantern. But everybody else is like fresh, clean slate. Like Superman's like, I don't remember any of that. And it's like, dude, come on.
What?
We were
Yeah.
all there.
What happened?
Everybody came back from the dead.
Yeah.
And we had to kill them all because they were Green Lantern zombies, but they were black. It's crazy. So help me out here. Hal George is so pissed off.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
See, I haven't picked up a lot of the Green Lantern stuff just because I'm not made of money.
Well, I've been reading the Green Lantern series because I was a huge Jeff Johns fan.
Yeah, Jeff
And
Johns is good.
I really liked it. I liked the end of his run because you really like that last issue of his run. You can totally put that comic book down and be like, I'm never reading a Green Lantern ever again because we're done.
Yeah,
we just
that's how I
that
felt.
was the story.
Yeah.
That was it. The end. And I was super cool with it. Like they're kind of foreshadowing of what happens to all the characters because they like give you like a glimpse of far into the future what happens to all these characters and like Sinestro's got a super tragic ending and
Good.
you know, and Hal and
Hated
Hal's
that
good
guy.
ending, and I guess Kyle becomes Space Jesus, you know. So,
Awesome band name.
Jesus.
They're doing a thing now, and it's called the Trinity War, and they're pitting.
Yeah, I've been seeing ads. for
I've
it,
picked
yeah.
up the past two, where basically JLA, Justice League, and Justice League Dark are fighting together to fight. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, to fight
Right.
something, and
Right.
it's pretty good because you look at it, you get a lot of action, you get a lot of characters, and there's still some character development in there, which is pretty
it's
good.
all about this
yeah.
Pandora character or whatever, who's quasi responsible for the New 52 anyway. So
It's pretty interesting. It's a good fast read. There's not a lot of boring parts in it. It
And
moves fast.
DC just recently released their I think it was this week, their animated movie Flashpoint.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They released Flashpoint, and at the end of it's basically there's a kicker at the end of it that gives you a tease for their next animated movie, which is a direct sequel, which is basically because Flashpoint in the comics, they had this Flashpoint story arc that was just going to be a Flash story arc with some one-off comics or whatever. Like, what if this was Batman in this alternate universe? What
Right.
if this was Superman? It's essentially the age of apocalypse for DC. But what happened was they decided, well, we're going to do this reboot. Let's use this as our launching point into the reboot. So, like, Flash fixes everything, and all of a sudden, blap, everything's different now.
Yeah.
Way to go, Barry Allen. You should have stayed dead.
You drunk.
So, yeah, lousy cop. Anyway, so that's what happens. Like, so if you don't know what started New 52, and you don't really need to, because that's the whole point.
Right.
You could watch that Flashpoint movie, and it's like, oh, that's why
Yeah.
Superman doesn't have red tights anymore.
We've brought this
Yeah.
up on the show before that every time DC goes through a reboot, it starts with the Flash. It started in the '60s with the new Flash when he
Right.
meets
When he
Flash,
meets
and then
Silver
that's
Age,
where you
Silver Age meeting Golden Age Flash.
yeah, and that's where we get Earth 1 and Earth 2 from, and that eventually becomes canon for all of DC. Flash is also probably the big character of Crisis.
Well, he's
one of the big ones.
He essentially
anyway.
becomes the patron
Yeah.
saint of superheroes
Yeah.
because he sacrifices himself to save everybody.
And now New 52 and Flashpoint. Like, he's
Right.
always been, it always is. And I don't know if that's on purpose or if it probably will be now.
I think I think you're right. I think from now on it's just going to be standard practice. But if they ever do reboots, they'll just be like, well, we have to. It's paying tribute to the past, man. And I'm pretty sure that comment you made about how like the Flash's meeting was the bridge for the Golden Age and Silver Age, and then killing Barry was the end of the multiverse. Like, I'm pretty sure I remember an interview where they openly said it had to be Barry because he was the reason
Yeah.
why they even discovered a multiverse to begin
Yeah.
with. It had to be like
I
that
believe
poetic
that.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but
So you're saying we need to kill the Flash?
I'm saying we need to kill Superman.
Speaking of dead Superman, one more thing I want to point out in
In this
this.
comic, in this issue.
Yeah, is
Superman
it's sad that his
over
parents
20.
are burying his stuff and blah blah.
Yeah,
But
because
then-
they don't have a body to bury.
But then we see this guy holding up this T-shirt of a bloody Superman symbol, which was a real T-shirt.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
like some real free advertising. Right?
Well, and that's the thing. They made so much bank off of merchandising
Oh,
the death
yeah.
of Superman. And that issue, those issues, and all the issues associated with it sold so many, like, different prints of it. It was crazy.
I still have mine in the wrap with like the poster and the armband. I never did open it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I got it.
You know, that's
I'd
probably
have-
worth $5.
Yeah, I read 6.
Oh, wow.
That's worth a comic book history lesson is what it's worth.
Thank you.
It's like, hey, once upon a time, Superman died, but that totally doesn't count.
That doesn't count because he's alive, and he doesn't have red tights, and everyone's pissed off. Which I don't mind not having. I think he looks cool.
I don't mind it. And like the explanation for his suit now in New 52 totally makes sense to me. Like,
Is
I
it the
get
one from the movie where it's like basically?
It's very similar to the movie, but the difference is like the S plate on the front is actually like one piece, and he puts it on, and it's like nanotech, and it like grows over him.
Yeah.
It's Kryptonian. It's basically Kryptonian clothing. But at the same time, it's like there's a function to it, and that explains.
Is it
how
like
can-
underwear though?
No, it's just like because Kryptonians. I don't even think Kryptonians have underwear.
Well, I mean, it's
I
like
think
the
it's
suit
just-
is technically the under part of the actual spacesuit, like in the movie. I'm talking about the movie.
exoskeleton
Yeah.
that they had in the-
Yeah.
It's a lot like the tights part, like Jor-El had on,
Right.
And Zor and Zod had on at the end.
Right. So
It's a lot like that.
it's easy to put armor on, or I don't know.
Right.
So
You think they're gonna do Supergirl in the next movie?
No, I hope not.
You know what I kind of hope that they do.
I hope they do and they kill her.
I kind of hope they take a page from the Batman Superman. I don't think that they should make another Superman movie. I think they should make go ahead and make another Superman movie to introduce Lex Luthor, or make a Lex Luthor movie. It's one or the other.
Ooh, that would be good.
Because what you could do is you could do a Lex Luthor movie that's standalone. It's not a huge budget because it's mostly like a crime kind of thing. You do some science fiction-y elements to get
Right.
some budget in there, and you make Superman references, and it basically shows you what was Lex Luthor doing while all this crap's going on.
That'd be
and
interesting.
All of Metropolis is getting destroyed.
Yeah.
And then the end of the movie is when he finally meets Superman. And then the next Superman movie
is, he's doing whatever. They're rebuilding. Lex Luthor's rebuilding Metropolis, and then he meets Lex Luthor. So it's like you're getting essentially 2 movies in one. And then my idea was the way how you do Supergirl, because they're kind of telling you it exists.
They better not.
But here's how it would be cool.
Okay.
Is if how they steal it from the Batman Superman story arc where they first introduced her again in like 2000s or whatever, and Lex Luthor gets a hold of her and brainwashes her, and Superman has to fight her.
Oh.
Because
they destroy a whole city.
Then you've got, okay, so now Lex Luthor is a threat. Lex Luthor is a freaking evil dick.
Hey, maybe they could destroy Gotham next.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. But
bastards.
oh my God. Here's my beef about Man of Steel, because I didn't get to be on that episode because I had to freaking work.
You had to work.
My job, money, mortgage. So anyway, I hate being a doll. We go back to being 10. Read about Superman dying. So here was my thing about Man of Steel. Everybody complains about how much death and destruction's in that movie. Everybody complains.
Yeah.
Shut up. Watch the Transformers movies for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Watch the Avengers for crying out loud.
Hey,
Iron
you heard
Man-
my argument about Avengers versus Superman, though. My argument is it was handled better.
It was handled. You saw very visual. You saw a very visual representation of people getting out of there. Now in Superman, you see people running, but you don't.
Transformers is moot because that movie sucks.
Right. But in Superman, you don't have the luxury of cutting to Superman trying to get people out of the way. He's too busy fighting the bad guy. If he gets down there,
Why did
they're
he
gonna
take
come
him
down
to
there.
space and then say, "Let's go back down to Metropolis"?
Because Zod's not a nice person.
I don't know. But most of the time it was Zod that was smashing him into buildings. It wasn't Superman that was smashing him into buildings.
He should have, while he was in space, he should have defied gravity and threw him into the sun. He did that on Superman 4.
Give the guy a break. He just learned how to fly from his space dad.
A lot of people dead. A lot of people dead.
From his gladiator
What are you going to do in the
father.
sequel? Like,
What?
there is no Metropolis.
Counterpoint.
No, Metropolis is still there. It was just like a big chunk of it.
Looked pretty freaking big.
No,
Smallville's gone.
They had a big giant. What? Smallville built strong. It's Kansas strong. Kansas proud. You saw it happen in
Amen.
Greensburg, and it rebuilt.
You're right.
Bigger and better and greener.
We'll get Leonardo DiCaprio.
That's right. Anyway, so
They'll do Earth shows about it.
yeah. So, like, they had a big wide shot that shows like it's the middle of town that pretty much got all smashed up.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you know what they'll do is they'll do like the Lex the Lex building the city storyline, where like he's Metropolis's favorite son because he built the
Yeah.
city, and that's going to be like if they don't play Lex in the post in like this new modern era where he's like, I look at Superman like he's a threat to everything because no one will ever achieve anything because they'll look at him and go, we can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
We can't be that guy. And that guy needs to be stopped. That's the Lex Luthor I want, says the bald guy who's pointing fingers.
That's what I want.
Freaking Superman.
I'm
I
driving
think also
to
the point I was
Hollywood.
making, though, is, I mean, even including the Avengers and Dark Knight Rises, every one of these movies nowadays involves a city being
just getting
destroyed.
decimated.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's like they just keep having to
Yeah.
up the ante on it, and it's getting a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, I think by the time
With Avengers, fine, we knew it was coming. It was the 6th movie, like it had to happen. We're fine with that. But this is movie 1. Like this is a pretty big failure for movie 1
But
for Superman.
I
It's
just
a big
feel like
failure.
it helps. Well, I think it helps with their dark direction with Superman because people will like him, but people will also still be afraid of him, and that will help people appeal to Lex Luthor, who will be like, we don't need him. He'll be more of the lines of, we can be above that. We don't need him and all that jazz. And I think it'll be more of Lex Luthor will be more of a political power player in these films than he will be, you know.
Did you hear that, Warner Brothers?
That's right.
He's got a script. Scott's got a script.
I'm in my basement writing.
It's all in my head, right?
Well, it makes me think, what are they going to do with Avengers 2 then? Because if they're going to go
I mean,
with,
who knows?
with
Like
Thanos, I mean, I could see that taking place in space, that battle.
Well, we've got Guardians. we've got Guardians.
Because
really
everyone wanted a Guardians movie.
this version of Guardians, yes.
And actually, I've heard.
And the thing is,
Yeah.
it's the best movie to kind of get people to be like, hey, you know, there's superheroes in space too, and there's all sorts of crazy shit in space.
Yeah.
And like, it's gonna be an eye candy movie. There's gonna be a lot of crazy crap. It's got a huge cast coming right now.
Oh yeah.
And Benicio del Toro got signed, and the rumor is his character is also going to be in Thor. So a lot of people are saying that he's not the Collector, he's going to be Thanos.
Oh, that'd be good.
Which Benicio del Toro is the voice of Thanos.
Yeah. The thick, what is it, Cuban or
Very gravelly.
Swear to God. Swear to God.
Give me the gems. Give me the gems.
I could go off on a tangent on that movie. What was that movie was in with Selma Hayek and Oliver Stone directed it. Savages.
Oh, yeah.
He was in that. If you get, it's a good movie. You should see
I
it.
haven't seen
It's all right. I won't go off on that tangent.
You're right though. I have no idea what they're going to do with Avengers 2 because you can't just do another space invasion. We already did that.
Right.
Well,
And they're planning
the big
on-
problem is they're like I thought with Phase 2 we were going to be introduced to. Like, honestly, I don't care that much about Guardians of the Galaxy. I was expecting, like, the Black Panther movie or a Doctor Strange movie or all these other, like,
That's Phase
cooler,
3.
at least. I know, but why do we have to wait that long?
Well, because
these are all
they're-
just
because they got to
sequels.
make money off of what they've already got. That's the deal. Because you got to look at it. That's the trade-off we're making. We get the sequels of the ones that have already been made now, so we can get even newer shit later. I mean, that's just the way it is. I agree with you. I think that there should have been more. I think Ant-Man should have been Phase 2.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Should have been Phase 2 so we can get into Phase.
Right.
So we can get him in Avengers. But he's going to be in Phase 3 because Ultron's going to be the bad guy for Avengers 3.
And you know this.
And I feel it.
It's in
with
here.
Everything in my body.
Why,
because
wouldn't,
that's
he be,
the one.
why wouldn't he be the villain of Ant-Man, though?
Because they can always do some other villain for Ant-Man.
Like who?
Well, you can
Who
always
is- who is there besides
AIM.
Ultron?
It can be AIM. It can
Oh,
be
yeah.
a science-based villain, and
Okay.
that's the thing. He's a scientist adventurer.
Mm-hmm.
That's that is the character of Hank Pym. And if they do Scott Lang, fuck him. Not a big fan of Scott Lang.
You know what? If
love
Edgar
it.
Wright is doing it, because here's the thing: it's not like Hank Pym is some great character. If Edgar Wright is doing it, I'm all for it. He can do whatever
he can
he
do
wants.
Yeah.
But it should be Hank Pym. Just because.
Just because
Just because I like Hank Pym.
it's not
And
him.
I-
Bug him.
Huge fan. Big fan. But I mean,
Hank Pym is the worst superhero.
what are you talking about?
You know what I'm
Ant-Man,
talking
Giant
about.
Man, Yellow Jacket, Goliath.
Yeah, he had a major identity crisis.
Yeah, he was schizophrenic for a while. He's a
know
flawed
that.
character.
That makes a bad superhero.
No, it doesn't. Because by all rights, he should be a supervillain, but he still chooses to do the right thing.
And with
But
great
not for the
power
right
comes
reasons.
great responsibility.
Not at first, but not. Well, I take
More
that.
at first.
Mo-
And then he
at
gets
first,
crazy.
he wanted to be he just wanted to be an adventurer, and then he starts going crazy because of the pressure and all the weird shit he's seeing. He hits Janet,
Yep.
and then he goes through this long path of redemption.
Yeah. I'm
Now, are they
fine
gonna
with
do that in the
What I'm
movies?
not fine
No
with-
way in hell.
What I'm not fine with in the 90s, because, and this goes all back to toys.
Well,
as
that was
I
20
always say,
years
it's
ago,
all about
so-
toys. But in the 90s, they, I think it was the 90s, they brought Hank and Jan back together.
They keep doing that, and
That's
just-
wrong.
Yeah.
That is flat out wrong.
He's with Tiger now, so it's cool. Whatever. He's into furries.
I think this is the heated it's ever gotten on this show.
Whatever.
I don't think
When
so.
we get into
It's
Remember
good.
that time that we were
Character
breaking
debates.
bottles, me and Schaefer?
Oh yeah,
We had
that was.
broken bottles to each other's throats.
It got weird.
Mother of God.
What were we talking about?
fighting over
Magneto?
Ant-Man also.
Oh, we were fighting
Yeah.
Ant-Man. This damn
He's
Ant-Man.
a
Hank
horrible character.
Pym! Damn you, Pym! But that's the thing. They introduced AIM, and Hank Pym is the perfect character to fight against AIM if they want to build AIM as
Alone
another
Against AIM.
organization. Yeah, Alone Against AIM. Actually, I like that storyline. Oh,
Alone
that's a good
Against
title.
AIM.
We're gonna get to work.
One man
Alone Against AIM.
with the power of the ant.
In
Iron
AIM
Man
sights. But there's a lot of random AIM characters, and to be quite frankly
They
honest,
could, I guess they could do MODOK. Why not?
yeah, that's
Why
the
not?
thing. Ant-Man is such a ridiculous kind of thing that
People love
MODOK would
MODOK.
just be like, you gotta be kidding me, this is happening.
And Edgar Wright is a ridiculous director.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
he could do a MODOK.
And
sure.
you know
Oh,
he'd be
yeah.
good at a comic book movie. I think Scott Pilgrim was just his prototype for, this is what I could do if you gave me a real character that people liked, except for this weird Scott Pilgrim dude, Michael Cera. He gave me something else. I
Hey,
could
we
do
all
something
like
with.
Michael Cera.
Except for Enrique.
He's fine.
Whoa.
He's okay.
He's good in Arrested Development. I did like him in Scott Pilgrim, but you don't like his character very much because he's such a piece of crap.
Yeah.
But Scott Pilgrim, you're not watching it for Michael Cera. You're watching
Right.
it for the ride.
Oh, yeah.
You're watching it because you get to watch, wow, Michael Cera took out Captain America. Wow, Michael Cera took out Superman.
Wow, he took it. Yeah.
The Punisher helped Michael Cera.
Yeah, the Punisher helped Michael Cera take out Superman. Like all these random comic references
Yeah.
you can make. Oh my god.
What is happening in this movie?
Crazy.
It was
Wow, he just beat up the guy from, what is that show called?
what shit?
The one,
The
God
one
damn it,
with
what is
Jet
that
Li?
show? No, the one where they're always smoking pot.
Jason Schwartzman?
Yeah, what's his show called? It's really
Oh, Bored to Death.
Bored to Death.
Bored to
Yeah.
Death.
He just beat up the
That's a
guy
really
from
good
Bored
show.
to Death. I do like that show.
I went through that series twice. I liked it so much.
I need to rewatch it. It was good.
A lot of pot.
A lot of
A lot of
pot.
pot in that show.
What do you guys think of? How
Pot?
do you guys think?
Oh.
No, nothing. We're not getting to that. What do you guys think they're gonna do with the whole like Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch thing? Since
I'm
they're
glad they're
using
doing
both
it.
the Marvel movies and.
I'm glad they're doing that. They should do that. I
But
think.
Do you think it's gonna be the same actors?
I hope so. That would suck.
I don't know.
I think that would throw
I don't know
people
what
off
they're
if they
gonna do.
didn't do that.
I think. Well, I think the only way you can get around it is if you get younger actors for one.
Yeah,
and you
because
get
they're going to
older
be
actors for
in.
the other.
Well,
Yeah.
aren't they supposed to be in Days of Future Past?
Yes.
Days of
The
Future
Old
Past
Man, Quicksilver, and Scarlet Witch.
Right.
Well, no, it sounds like it's young because the picture that they tweeted out was like a picture that said it was a mailbox that said Maximoff and Wolverine and Beast are in '70s clothes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably going to be the teenage version of them, and then in
I think you
Avengers,
can get
get
away with them.
older version.
I think you get away with the same actors because they're mutants, and
The thing is, though, in the
mutants
X-Men
don't age
series-
like we do. I
Yeah,
In the
guess.
X-Men
Freaking
series,
Magneto.
Yeah.
they have two,
I'm a Holocaust survivor.
like they have two different.
Wow, that sounded terrible.
Sorry.
No offense to the Holocaust survivors. You people are part of the greatest generation, but holy crap.
Well, you know, it's just like
All
in the
offense to
X-Men
mutants,
movies,
though.
they have two different Sabretooths, who are not just two different actors. I think they're two flat out different characters.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I would almost say that as well. Like
Yeah.
it really is not the same. Well, that's the thing. Like Sabretooth has always been portrayed as, malevolent, and menacing, or he's always just been a feral animal.
Yeah.
And you could argue that at some point in his storyline he becomes feral
But
and
why would
loses
you?
all memory. But but that's the thing. Oh man, how about adamantium bullet that'll take away memory?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I fucking know that because I'm a neuroscientist that uses bullets to erase memories.
I've done this hundreds of times,
No,
guys.
what a load of shit. I was so pissed when I heard that. Is that going to kill him? No, but he won't remember anything. Bullshit!
Remember, guys, I've done this 100 times. Works every time. Well, I think it's funny. The Wolverine movie, well, we're wrapping up here.
Yeah,
we got
yeah.
about 10 minutes. The new Wolverine movie's coming out.
Yeah, we're gonna see that.
I saw a new
next
trailer
week.
for it
Yeah.
in front of a movie I did not expect to see a trailer for The Heat. I saw that movie
Wow.
with my wife last night because she really wanted to see it. She loves Melissa McCarthy, and they had a trailer for it, and it was a new trailer, and it showed off Silver Samurai.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh damn, that's
Now,
pretty freaking cool.
yeah. In the trailer, did it say, Wolverine fans, this is the movie you wanted?
Yeah,
Because I saw that on TV. No, I did see it on TV. It
You did
actually
see it
said
on
that.
TV?
It actually
Wow.
said that, yeah. That's kind of a bold statement, so they better not
Have you
mess
noticed,
this up.
Have you noticed that they're using the Marvel logo before all the trailers and everything?
I've not
Even though
noticed
it's a
that.
Fox property.
Oh,
They're using
really?
The big red Marvel logo.
Wow.
They didn't do that before.
They did not do that with Days of Future Past, I don't believe.
Wow.
And I don't believe they did that with X-Men Origins. So that is a big.
Hmm.
That is
It's
a
just
big
a
step
marketing.
for
It's
them.
a marketing.
But that's the thing. That means that they're
They know-
smart.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
they
yeah.
know that, like, look, if we play ball a little bit, we all win.
Yeah.
And I have faith that Fox can be a little more open to being like, hey, how about you guys do this with these characters and we'll play ball with these characters? Or even the writers can be like, look, here's the deal with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. We can both use the characters. You guys can't say they're mutants, and we can't say that they're Avengers, but
Yeah.
we can kind of play ball in such a way that you can kind of make a reference in your movie that gives people that link that goes, it's totally the same character.
Right.
It's just two people playing the different character because one's older and one's younger.
Yeah.
Because they casted really young for the X-Men movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the rumor is in the Avengers movie they're going old. So,
Going old, folks.
but the X-Men movies don't make any fucking sense anyways because
No.
like
The comic books don't make sense.
well,
Well,
yeah,
the movies
yeah,
don't
it
really
doesn't.
have much continuity.
But
Like, they kinda-
they tried. They're trying to make a continuity out of it, and it doesn't make sense. And I personally think that when they just end Days of Future Past, it's like Cyclops is alive and Xavier's alive, and it's time
Yeah, I'm
travel,
fine
and I
with
don't have
that.
to explain a goddamn thing.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
New
It's like-
52. Boom.
Yeah, Days of Future Past is basically just forget about X-Men 3, forget about Wolverine.
yeah.
Like, those were terrible. We're gonna make good movies.
Bryan Singer's
now,
back,
hopefully.
baby.
It's a comic book movie.
Comic book movie.
In the
Come on.
face.
I ain't got smelling crap. Now they're already talking about an X-Force movie.
I just read that.
I
Yeah.
don't know which version of X-Force. they're
Oh,
talking about
God.
doing, so.
I hope the Rob Liefeld version.
Shut up. You are the second person to tell me that. I want to see pointy shoulders
And giant
no feet
thighs.
and no feet.
Yeah, no feet.
And it's like, no, that's not.
If they did that though, if they found a way where every shot their feet are just
Right,
out of
right.
shot,
It'll
that would be pretty awesome.
It'll be either the recent Wolverine one, Wolverine Strike Team one, or it'll be like some version with Cable in it.
I hope Captain America makes a cameo too.
Good lord.
Well, I think that's about it. Next week we're gonna be watching X-Men. We're gonna give or Wolverine.
Wolverine. The
We're gonna-
Wolverine. Is it the
The
Wolverine? The Wolverine.
The Wolverine, because the other one was called Wolverine X-Men Origins. God help us all. Why did we make this film? Deadpool, we're sorry.
This one's called just the Wolverine.
Yes, because we had to shorten it.
You know what my prediction is? My prediction is I'm gonna throw out kind of a wild card here and say that this is going to be the superhero movie of the summer.
Oh,
Like I think that this
you said
is-
that the last X-Men Wolverine movie.
No, I didn't.
I know you did.
No, because
We
like
got fooled by that trailer, man.
Yeah.
as good as Iron Man was, left kind of hit us in the balls. Star Trek, same deal. It was good, but it kind of
Nothing new.
Yeah,
Nothing
nothing new. And then Superman, it's good, but it kind of.
I'm not seeing where they're going with that.
Yeah.
So maybe this will be the movie. If it is the movie, that'll be hilarious.
Well, we
So-
still have Thor and Captain America this year too.
Captain America's next year.
Next year.
But we got
I'm not
Thor.
look-
We got
I don't
Thor
think
this year.
Thor. Yeah, I don't know if Thor 2 is going to be very good.
Well,
We just need to get some more trailers out there.
it might
People
surprise
be
you.
eager for it.
It might.
I really just want to see him travel throughout Asgard and the other 7 realms.
And
Hit
that's what-
stuff
we're
with
gonna
the
get- we're gonna
hammer.
get
You think
that.
so?
We're gonna get that.
And hit stuff with the hammer. That's all.
And my money's on Natalie Portman dying, and I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah.
Because he needs to be, you know, knocking boots with some Sif.
He
because
needs
she's hot.
a good old fashioned
Yeah.
girl in the refrigerator.
We need to make him a little tragic. I mean, he's freaking immortal.
Yeah.
Never learned to let. It's like, come on, people, come on.
He learned his lesson.
Oh, I need to be nice in order to pick up my hammer. Odin's
This
Lee.
hammer's heavy. My feel good hit of the summer I'm gonna predict is The Heat, which I haven't seen yet. So
I haven't seen it either.
It's good.
okay.
It's funny.
Melissa McCarthy, is that her name?
Yes.
That's my superhero.
She is. So I don't know how she moves in that body. It's pretty hard. but man,
We've
she-
insulted so many forms of people in this podcast.
It's me. It's all me, and I take total.
All right, did you hear that, everyone? Scott, it's Scott's fault.
Send Scott your hate metal.
You can email him at. I'm not gonna come.
Yeah, don't do.
I've got a horrible email too.
Yeah, 2 people might send you.
Actually, it's like, who is this guy?
One of them's my mom. So.
He's the worst. He has a potty mouth. So anyway.
Oh, I think that does it. See y'all later. Have fun, and we'll have another show. See ya.